All right, Houston Texans, we got a player, a man that has been forgotten about, maybe not by Texans fans, but across the country. And I think he is absolutely poised, if healthy, for a breakout season this year. He is none other than John Mechie. And I was reading an article. This was on NFL.com, which I usually don't read articles on, but it was talking about 5 breakout wide receivers, guys that are in their second year, third year, wherever it might be, that are poised to have an open or a huge breakout year. And let's just read what it says about Mechie. Then I'm going to give you my own argument for why. And I'm going to give a couple comparisons, just kind of things like that. All right. So it starts by saying, full disclosure, yes, that's not me. This is the writer of the article. They're saying, yes, I'm openly rooting for Mechie to enjoy a fruitful sophomore campaign. He was diagnosed with leukemia shortly after Houston took him in the second round of last year's draft. The Alabama product missed his entire rookie season battling the cancer. You all know this, but now he's back to action, turning heads at Texans training camp. And I can't help but be inspired. Seeing how Mechie didn't play a snap last season, my models unsurprisingly forecast him to make the biggest statistical leap in 2023. They went on to say, reviewing Mechie's college film, he's an exceptional route runner, which is great for rookie cornerback C.J. Stroud. The 5'11", 187-pounder also boasts alignment versatility, having lined up both wide and in the slot in Bama. I like him to make an instant impact in NFL action this fall. Okay, I need to go a little further with this. All right, when you look at Mechie, when you look at like what you've seen coming out of training camp, I'm watching one right now as I'm talking to you. If it looked like my eyes are down, it's him making somebody look silly. And that is what Mechie kind of specializes in. If you watch his highlights, if you watch his film, he's a very good double move guy. And he's the kind of guy, if you get someone one-on-one on him, he is almost impossible to stop. And I think he is going to be poised to be in the slot almost right away. And if you don't believe me that he's going to start in the slot almost right away, I have a depth chart for you. So let's take a look at this depth chart. Look at the other receivers on this team. You have Nico Collins out of Michigan. Go Blue. I'm a big Michigan fan. All right. You have John. Don't turn it off if you hate Michigan. Come on now. All right. You have Mechie. They're already listing him as a starting wide receiver. And then Robert Woods. Behind that, who's challenging him? Who's challenging him? Noah Brown. Noah Brown's like a poor man's version of John Mechie. Like Noah Brown is similar to Mechie in some ways, just not with the same level of burst, athleticism, crispness in the routes. This is not a team. There's talent on this Texans team. Wide receiver is not the position where they have a ton of talent. Robert Woods is not going to be healthy for the entire year. He's just not. You have 2 rookies in Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson. All right. But then you just have Noah Brown, who's the only other player that's done something. And that's it. It's a bunch of no names on this team. So, yeah, I think Mechie will be a standout this year and have a big year, not just because he's a good football player, but also he has room to be that guy. Now, as you know, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, on this channel, this is our second channel. We started with a channel called Sports Talk Detroit, and now we have this for teams that we don't feel like the national media covers enough. And when I see John Mechie, when I see him in college, what I see is a consistent player, a guy who just flat out knows how to get open. He caught so many intermediate routes. It was insane. And Alabama knows how to use him, and Houston will use him in a similar way. It reminded me of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not saying he's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown, okay? But he does remind me of that. Now, let's go to where I think he's going to play on the field a lot. I think he's going to get plenty of run in the slot. He has a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud who absolutely loves throwing to the slot receiver. Anybody remember the name Jackson Smith-Njigba? All right. He was drafted like 18, 19, something like that by the Seahawks this year. All Smith and Jigma did out of the slot 2 years ago at Ohio State was outcatch and outgain Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, who were the number 1 and number 2 rookie wide receivers last year. CJ Stroud loves a guy who can get open in the middle of the field. He loves a guy who can get open in the middle of the field. And I think Mechie specializes in that. He's pretty good run after the catch. He's a yak monster. Like, these are the kind of things about John Mechie that you have to feel good about. You just do. So let's look at his stats at Alabama. In year 1, he didn't play much. He only played 4 games. He was a freshman. But his sophomore year, to get on the field consistently at Alabama as a sophomore is not easy. This was 2020. This is when they were just flat out running out. Phenomenal team, unbelievable wide receivers. They're all going pro. And he played in 13 games, had 55 catches for 916 yards. He was more of a deeper ball guy in that year. He was getting a lot of deeper catches. Some of that was yak yards, don't get me wrong, and all that kind of stuff, but he was doing it. And then his junior year in 2021, there were some other guys that were, this little dude by the name of Jameson Williams, right? And so that was the deeper threat. So he became more of the slot, throw it underneath, do all these types of things. So he went on to catch 96 balls for over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. He has proven that he can do all of it. He can do all the things. So, assuming he's healthy, assuming that he's mentally even stronger after battling for his life, when diagnosed with leukemia, and he even admitted that, like, he didn't know if he was ever going to play football again. So you have a guy who has skills. He has produced at Alabama, and usually that does translate well into the NFL. And he has an understanding and a thankfulness of what this can bring for him. Because just a year ago, he didn't know if he was ever going to have this opportunity. So John Mechie, I'm targeting him. I'm absolutely targeting him in fantasy football because you can get him late. All right. Late in drafts. All right. Especially dynasty draft. I'm not saying you necessarily, but I think he could even bring some stuff in non-dynasty drafts, just a single year draft. So I'm targeting him there. And I'm looking for him to be the guy that CJ Stroud develops a good connection with, because I think they could be a very good 1-2 punch for a long time to come. All right. Let me know what you think, Texans fans. Leave a comment. Love reading the comments. Can't respond to everyone, but love reading them. Love and enjoy your input, and would love to keep making videos on the Texans. So keep watching the videos, keep liking them, and subscribe. All right. See you.